filing for bankruptcy, the Terra Lunas that shouldn't have been in this situation. But we still have thousands of cryptocurrencies. And if you look at the dot-com bubble, which is very reminiscent to what we're seeing here, you had a period where so many of them went bust and also other ones got bought out. I think recently FTX announced they were buying BlockFi for like 99% discount. That's what we want to see, but it's not over yet. So again, that probably means one more flush later on. What I would say though is this is important, is that don't necessarily think that it's a guaranteed flush, right?
Over the past few months, technical analyst Gareth Soloway has been one of the few analysts predicting that Bitcoin would hit $20,000 and probably even the sub-20s. We saw that decline play out over the past 2 months, taking almost $1 trillion off the crypto market. In many of his past interviews, Soloway explained that all the excessive money printing of the past 2 years helped prop up the financial markets. However, Soloway stated that all the extra money ended with record high inflation and rate hikes, which meant the markets were returning to their original state. As such, he expects Bitcoin to tumble below $20,000 in the short term and a dot-com bubble-like wipeout for the rest of the cryptocurrency market. At the end of the wipeout, Soloway predicts that a considerable number of the over 20,000 cryptocurrencies will be gone. But top cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin will be stronger, with better prospects of massive price gains. The first part of Soloway's prediction has proven to be true. We've had a massive price decline, not just in the cryptocurrency markets, but also in the equities market. In a recent interview, Soloway reiterates his past points. He believes we may yet see a bigger drop to $12,000 or $13,000 for Bitcoin. However, unlike in his past interviews, Soloway is bullish on Bitcoin in the short term. Please watch this video carefully as the veteran trader gives some major insights on Bitcoin, especially in this volatile market environment. Also, ensure you hit the like button, subscribe, and drop your comments and predictions below. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
My thought process about why we haven't bottomed is that you haven't seen all out basically people just throwing their hands up in the air, and you still have too many cryptocurrencies out there. We've started to weed out the weak hands, the Celsiuses, the other ones. Don't necessarily think that it's a guaranteed flush, right? So what I did was when we got to 19,000, I started a very small hodl position. And what I'm going to do is every 2,000 to 3,000 lower, I'm going to add another small position, accumulating a bigger core. Because yes, I think we might go to 12,000, but there's no guarantees. I'm not going to buy every week there and just miss the whole train. As much as I love Bitcoin going forward, I got to start dipping those toes into the water.
Yeah, and I think this is a strategy that we talk about here on the show a lot. Is dollar cost average is, to my recommendation is, I don't do it blindly. Just, hey, we're just dollar cost averaging at whatever level. I'm looking for those red days. I'm looking for those big significant scenarios where something has occurred in the market to create that market panic, because those are the days where you get that little bit of an extra push into. Now, it is a little bit scary for you guys if you are investing. Like if you were out investing over the weekend, you probably saw 19 come in and you thought, oh, is this the start? Are we going to see an 18 now? And if you held on pulling the trigger, you never got to the 18, and now here we are at what's Bitcoin hovering at right now? Did we break? And then just we almost saw 21.
Just below 20,500 right now. So it's had a nice comeback. It was trading in the 19s earlier today, so it has had a nice rally back up. It's definitely a risk-on market today. At least we've seen the Nasdaq come back and have a nice move up. So I mean, it's been a beautiful move. And I would just say this is that, remember, in investing, your emotion works against you. So when you're most fearful, which is right at these lows, that's when you got to be looking to buy. And when you're most greedy over here, that's
when you got to sell. And then right back up. We were at 19.3, 19.4 on that red candle, shooting up. Now, when we looked at sentiment, we were seeing sentiment sliding continuously, which kind of showed the indicator. We haven't published our CPI, but I do know the numbers. I pulled them just earlier. And sentiment was up almost 2 points on Bitcoin. So here's my question. With sentiment up 2 points, and we look at just a short range right now, this is a nice little 5% move we're in right now. With sentiment rising on Bitcoin, Gareth, could this be our run into 25? Is there anything in the TA side?
Yeah, so I do think that that's exactly what's starting here.
The chief market strategist also speaks about market sentiments concerning the crypto market. This has always been a good indicator and driver of prices in the crypto market. Weeks back, the crypto greed and fear index hit a record low of 7. Today, the index is still reading extreme fear, but things are looking better now that it is at 18. Here is how Soloway thinks that will influence prices in the short term.
something like Bitcoin, which is a great asset, but just don't get married to these things for sure.
Yeah, what I always like to say is have your hodl position, that's fine, but then designate a portion of it that you're taking profits, because I always like to say it, no one went broke taking a profit, right? So I mean, you always want to stay in the game, you want to pad your portfolio with some profits. If then a stock or in this case a crypto goes against you, you have that padding to kind of save yourself, and you can always, you're freeing up capital too, right? So you have that capital to redeploy, which is super important as well.
Yeah, I think that is a big factor, because we are seeing, I think strategies right now are super critical. When you look about...
They got to fight through that resistance in the near term.
Yeah, I think these are the ones that are, and that's the point, is that when you're in these kinds of runs, these little mini cycle runs that we've got now that we're past these holidays, which I always say, get ready, because these Mondays after a holiday, or the Tuesday in this particular case, starts to potentially open up with some very interesting scenarios playing forward. What are your thoughts on Ethereum? Do you still like Ethereum? Is it something you're trading?
In his interview, Gareth Soloway also talks about the strengthening US dollar and how that could be contributing to the crypto crash. The US dollar index tracks the dollar against 6 other top fiat currencies and is looking very good now. The leading currency has gained over 8% in 2022 alone and almost 15% in the past 12 months. Here is Soloway's explanation of how the strengthening dollar might be affecting the cryptocurrency market.
But one of the things I've learned in all the cycles that I've traded, whether it's stocks or commodities or crypto, is that usually these calls are early, right? So you're still going to see one more good flush. They have to flush out the weak hands that are buying here. And again, just be ready for that. It doesn't, if you look at it in perspective, we were at 68, 69,000. We're now down to 20, or we were sub 20. This is obviously getting inexpensive. But just be aware that markets tend to push you more than you're aware in each direction. So it went higher than many people thought, and ultimately will go lower than many people think.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, okay, so I would agree with that, because I think that is a scenario that, as we see these macro indicators, we have the potential of, things like what we're seeing in California, where we're seeing some stimulus start to go in, which could still be a factor if we continue to see CPI numbers continuing to rise. If we get anywhere near 10% on these cumulative numbers throughout the end of the year, do you feel like that we would see a potential stimulus, reaction from the White House? Do you think that's something that's in the cards?
Yeah, so I think the key is, if inflation is high, I think that the hands are tied. The politicians' hands are tied. There's too many voters in that middle income kind of range that just aren't going to be able to stomach these high prices, right? They're being hurt too much.
Gareth Soloway predicts one more flush in the midterm, between 3 to 6 months from now. However, he thinks we get to $25,000 first, especially if the dollar weakens a little compared to what we have right now. His previous predictions have been right on the mark. You think the same thing happens with his new prediction, or was that just a lucky guess? Please drop your comments, observations, and predictions below, and don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for watching.